Brought to you direct from Studio 3B at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, the American Hardwood Advisor is your source for trends, tips, and insights into how the building industry has evolved. Join me, Steve Stack, along with guest builders and industry leaders as we talk shop and go in depth on what it takes to be the best of the best. Dive into topics like architecture, industry trends, project plans, historical tools, tricks of the trade, and life's lessons from more than 6 decades of experience in the hardwood lumber business. Hey folks, Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, coming to you from American Hardwood Advisor, but as you can see, we're not in Studio 3B. We are out at Project Tionesta with our friends and partners at the Renovation Hunters and the Outdoor Channel. And we've saved the best for last as far as today goes. We have the one, the only, Mr. Hal Shaffer, part of the gang that formed Renovation Hunters. Does a lot of different things, has that other little show running, Drop Zone, and how many days a year are you home?
Wow, not enough. Probably a good 6 months out of the year I spend on the road, and then the other time you're at home, you're usually busy, you know, traveling somewhere close by to home, but you're still laying your head down on your own bed at night. So it gets really busy, you know, between the marketing company, Come On Media, Drop Zone TV, and Renovation Hunters. And Renovation Hunters is still in its infancy, right? So it's growing. So it's taking a lot of cultivating, a lot of labor. It's work right now, but man, we can already see the fruit sprouting on the trees. We see some really good things coming, and it all comes down to just having the right mission, right? You know, this is, in this day and time, in this world, I'm telling you, we need things to make people feel good, right? It is definitely a feel-good story, and we love where it comes from.
People in the United States are yearning for it.
No doubt.
We've got away from it, or a segment of the population has got away from it. Tell the folks how, if you would, more or less your mission. You guys had conversation, you came up with an idea, and with the right purpose, and now you're out here making it happen. What was the purpose?
So growing up, I grew up in a Southern family, born in Alabama. All my family was either from Alabama or Georgia, except for my dad. Now he was from Ohio, but Southern traditions, Southern families, it was always sitting around a table together, eating together, every meal you spent together. There was no sitting on a phone or going to eat in your room. And it was when the family communicated. It was, it's the times I still remember. Some of the times I remember most are conversations and laughter and stuff that we did around the table. The second thing was that I think a lot of families have gotten away from right now is having a destination where not just the immediate family, but families from both sides, right, can come together. And of course, with me, it's about enjoying the outdoors. If we do not enjoy the outdoors, if we do not use the outdoors will disappear. As we know it, it will go away.
Yeah.
And so we had to come up with a way that was about the passion of the outdoors, but also the passion of the family. The family unit, the family units that were the backbone of this country, what our Constitution was based on, how this country was built. That's what it's all about. And we have ran so far from that right now, a large demographic in our country has. And I think because as we went on, it wasn't taught to them. They didn't see the value of it. We want them to see that. We want families sitting at a table together, eating together. We want families gathering together in wherever that place may be. That's why this renovation, Steve, is not about their home, right? It's about the place where families get together at.
And we got a good one here.
Boy.
Project Tionesta.
Man, I mean, if you would have sat down and somebody would have read the template for the type of project we want, I mean, this one hit every mark. Built this house back in 1971, their little cabin here. And the funny thing about this is the family grew, but the cabin didn't.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And there's a family that they did something not a lot of people do this day and time. They lived within their means. So it was basic necessities. It did not have a well, does not have running water except for the water they borrowed from the neighbors, right? Through a garden hose. And it was very small. It's very consolidated. You're talking about less than 800 square feet, and they had 13 people sleeping in a 2-bedroom place.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And that's all changed.
Now it's changed.
We're not giving anything away, folks, but it has changed. I've talked with different people on the set and your workers, and I said, okay, pick one. Which is your favorite? And they all looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I shared with them. I said, I talked to my Lisa back home this morning. She asked me that question.
Yeah.
She says, which one you want to go back to? I said, all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's so cool because each one has it's like a meal, right? Everywhere you go, everyone's got a little different flavor, and that's what this is. Everyone hits a different mark. But I will say this, the great thing and the philosophy behind what we're doing for families, the Renovation Hunter philosophy was that it was a family, right? That all of our workers, all of our ambassadors, all this group, that's me. I want a family around me. I want people who love and care for me, and I want people that I love and care for. And the great thing about it is, and I'm not saying this because you're sitting here, but Baird Lumber, you guys are the epitome of what a partner is. These guys don't get paid. There's most partners tell you what they need you to do, right? They send you what your deliverables are, and they send you your check. These guys come put their blood, sweat, and tears into every one of our builds, every one, not just one of them, not just for a day. You guys show up, and we can't, first of all, we realized we couldn't do it without y'all. And second of all, man, you have no idea how much we appreciate it.
Oh, I do, and Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, they appreciate those words, and I shared with John Tate the other day, and he asked me a similar question about that, and I said, if you're a partner, you're a partner. You're all in or stay home.
Yeah, and that's another education that today's youth need to understand. When you commit yourself to something, go all in. Because that's the only way you're going to tell if you're truly going to get out of it what you need out of it.
Hey, you called Laramie a few weeks ago and said, hey, buddy, I need you.
Yeah.
Right?
I needed a crane, a bulldozer, and a Sasquatch all in one. And here he is. He's here doing it.
You got him.
Yeah, but Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, the thing that I have realized being kind of in y'all's backyard here is talking to people around this town. They really know about your company and about the family. And see, that's the thing, I guess, why Baird Brothers works so well with us, because it's been a family business for how long?
It was a natural fit, 62 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? 62 years, and we've, yesterday we had 2 third-generation Baird family members up here.
I know.
For a visit, and I think tomorrow I got another 2 coming up, and just because they care.
Yeah.
Not being nosy, they care.
They care. They care about this family, and they cared about the family in Virginia, the Nebraska. They care about all of it, and I guess that's what it all comes down to. The fun thing is, though, is that we together have come up, because pretty much everybody checks their ego at the door when they walk in here, right? There are no celebrities, no movie stars, none of that junk. We're all just a group of people trying to complete a mission. And what I found out is, after talking with everybody, after every build, everyone, we come up with more and better ideas. So you know what? 2023, you better look out.
Right.
Because if you think we did good this year, next year is going to be a whole different shebang.
Oh, I'm thinking so, and I've been excited for this project ever since we visited it back on May 26th.
Oh yeah.
And I've been stoked to get back over here, and then you and Kevin and myself had conversations. What if we do this? What if we do that? And seeing it come to life.
You guys are educated, so you guys brought a lot to the table. I mean, you know a lot about what you're doing, and give us some amazing ideas on how to really turn these places out. I mean, everyone so far has jogged every heartstring you could ever. It's pulled on every heartstring there was. I mean, we have seen grown men crying. We've seen ladies crying. We've seen people screaming with joy. Dude, that's right there at the end of the day when I lay my pillow down on my bed and put my head on it. That's what it's all about. If you were able to do that today, you've done a good deal.
You and I talked the other night over Cougar Bobs, right? And
there's only one Cougar Bobs.
and I made a comment to you and about the reaction that we're kind of anticipating from this family, and you said, "Yeah, I'm bringing a mop." Well, I got to run back in town. I think I'll pick up 2.
To get 2, we may need them both because both sisters are here. I think Mark will be pretty good, but I'm going to tell you the sisters are going to. I got to tell you this. So when we have finalists when we make our selection, so we have some finalists. And when we call those finalists, we call every one of them because we want to get a little more of the story, right? We want to get a better understanding of what we're dealing with. So the fun thing was I called and Christine Murphy, because she's the one that entered it, and I called her and she answered the phone. And I said, "Hey, this is Hal Shaffer." "Oh my God, we won. I said, no, God, not yet." It was so funny. It was hilarious. And so I had to bring her back down a little bit. But I said, "You are a finalist. There's a good chance you are a finalist." It was hilarious. That's the parts that we didn't capture that I wish we could have captured, because this family lives within its means, and its means hasn't been to where they could expand this, right, especially as fast as their family has grown. And I want everybody to get a chance to enjoy the outdoors. They're hunters, they're fishermen, they're campers, they're hikers. They use the outdoors for exactly what it was meant for.
And I can't leave you go after that little story about talking with Christy. The day that you, Kevin, Chris, and myself came up here to look at the property. And
yeah,
we had spent probably an hour and a half here walking around the property and the house, and we go back into the kitchen, and the family was sitting around a table under a tent outside on the patio.
Kind of led them down one path to bring them up.
No,
another one.
You didn't lead them nowhere. We had a discussion inside the house. You guys did whether or not you wanted to take the project on, whether or not it was achievable and
right,
within the means.
Because that is important to us.
Right.
It has to be achievable, because I don't want to come in and short shoot anybody and then come up disappointed. That is the last thing we want, right?
So folks, this dirty dog, he says to the other 3 of us, he says, "Okay, it's decided then, this is the property." He says, "But let's go out and announce." He said, "But let me take this." So we go out, and now we've got Christy and her husband and the other brother, stepbrother, or not stepbrother, brother-in-law,
right?
And Christy's son, and they're all lined. We walked outside. They stood up like at attention, and oh my God, what'd they find out?
Yeah.
So this guy, he says, "You know, guys," he says, "Renovation Hunters, we love the property, but we don't take on projects," and this is not verbatim, but the premise was, we don't take on projects that we don't think we can complete in an 8 to 9 day window. And there's a lot of stuff going on here that we'd like to do, but he said, I'm sorry to say, I don't think we can do it, so we're not going to take the project." You watched 4 adults melt in front of you, and before they hit the ground, he says, "I'm just kidding, we're going to take the project." Then the tears flew.
And then it was just tears. That was awesome. So
that was bad.
But no, it was bad. But I got a little bad in me. You gotta have some fun every now and then. But I just love seeing. I love seeing the emotion of people, even when the emotion starts to go away. You instantly see how important it was to them for this to happen.
Joyce family.
Oh,
I was present the other day when you read a card letter from the Joyce family. If that doesn't pull on your heartstrings.
Oh, dude, I mean, you think they're the only ones that's had tears in their eyes? When I was at the Joyce family, I mean, my eyes watered up. It was like I was sniffing onions, because I'm telling you, it was rough. And here's the thing. We said, our mission was to bring families back together and to start enjoying family again. The youngest son, who had had a really good, career and had done well in life, had moved away. And he had moved away from his mom and dad and hadn't spent much time at the cabin. And he stood up after we did the reveal. And I'll never forget it. He goes, he says, I moved away from here. I haven't spent no time here. And then the tears started pouring out of his eyes. And he said, he goes, I didn't realize what I was missing until you guys showed up here. And he couldn't even hold it.
Yeah.
The water just started, make me cry. The water just started rolling out of his eyes. And he goes, I've learned a lesson. I need to spend more time with my mom and dad and with my family. And he says, you guys made this all possible. And not only that, you opened my eyes to it.
Yeah.
Right then, I said, mission completed.
Right? Exactly.
Mission complete. We could not do another house. We could never do another episode. And we could put this thing on the shelf and put it in the closet. And I promise you, I would be happy.
You affected one person's life.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So, folks, this is, we're just wrapping up this first 3-house tour. And you mentioned it earlier, 2023 is going to blow the doors off, bud.
We ain't kidding, because when this thing hits air, the entries we're going to get is going to be unbelievable, which is super exciting. But, on top of that, I want y'all to know, though, there is a 10th episode. There's 3 episodes for every build, so that's 9.
Right.
But there's a 10th episode. And that 10th episode is going to be a lot of fun stuff and bloopers. And we may have old Stack on a couple bloopers that I will not let get away without being on air. Just so you know. So when that 10th episode comes around, make sure you're watching.
Okay, Mr. Hal Shaffer.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate everything y'all do for us.
Thank you for your friendship, your partnership.
Absolutely.
And ladies and gentlemen, Hal Shaffer, you can follow this guy. You turn on Instagram, he's all over it. Drop Zone, Renovation Hunters, Hal Shaffer, and please follow Baird Brothers. We are having way too much fun to call it work, but we've got more to come from Project Tionesta and beyond. For all you folks listening, thanks for talking shop with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date with the American Hardwood Advisor series, give us a like and subscribe. For more tips, projects, and inspiration, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or at bairdbrothers.com. Until next time,